Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with One Piece, episode 1082. And you have no idea how excited I am. Not just for more One Piece in general, but we are only episodes away from the final saga. We are only a few episodes away from starting one of the last arcs of this series. And while we don't know exactly how many arcs the final saga is going to have in total, the fact that we're getting this close, that we're entering the end game, is such a big deal. I'm about to get emotional. I've been watching this series since it debuted for 4Kids. Almost the entirety of my life. It's important to me, to say the least. So, to see it entering the end game, the final portion of the series, the final saga, is a big deal. It's gonna be chock full of reveals, of huge moments, of just shocking, powerful, intense, exciting, heartbreaking, just moments that just showcase why One Piece is my favorite piece of media of all time. And we're almost there. It feels like forever now that I've been reacting to Wano. And I rushed through a bit of it because I had to catch up. I was catching up and doing like bunches of episodes at a time. And it feels like, it still feels like it's been forever. And I don't mean that in a negative. Wano's easily my favorite arc of this series. Not even a question. But I'm also glad that we're moving on from it. Because Oda has so much more to tell. And we know the masterfulness of Oda's storytelling. We know that all of these questions that we have had for the entire time this series has been running, some of these questions go back since the very beginning. We know they're all going to be answered. We know that Oda is going to put forth everything into this final saga. We're going to find out about everything. We're going to find out about the Will of D. We're going to find out about Dragon, about Vegapunk, about the Void Century, everything, all of this big shit that is going to shake the fandom like never before. We're going to find out everything. And it's a big fucking deal. And I know I'm jumping the gun here. I know that like that's still episodes away, but every time I tune into a new episode, it's just, we're getting closer and closer. We're only a few episodes away. I believe it's 1086 that the next arc starts on. We're not having a filler between Wano and that. It's just, how can you not be excited? How can you not be this hype? Like, yeah, shit's still happening. We have Admiral Ryukyu here causing trouble, being an Akainu simp, trying to get Daddy Akainu to notice him. Yeah. Yamato, the Akazaya 9 fighting him, but Momo tells them to stop. Tells them, it's like, no. Let's not do this. Don't know the exact reason yet, but yeah. We have Shanks planning to go after the One Piece now. Okay. What is Shanks going to do? Shanks knows that Ryukyu's here. Is he going to interfere? Is he going to do something? Or is he just going to sit back and move on? We know he's not going to meet with Luffy yet, which I wouldn't have expected anyway, but what's going to happen there? Like, there's all these questions about what is currently going on, yeah, but at the same time, this is a post-arc, let's be honest. The stuff with Ryukyu is probably not going to go too far. We're winding down from everything that happened during the course of Wano. So, yeah, my hype is led into what's coming. My hype right now is about the future. More so than with where we're at. Because right now, where we're at is a slow portion, and deservedly so. But yeah. Basically, I have to keep myself hyped up by thinking about where it's going. Because where we're at, again, isn't like a super hype moment, even with the battle against Ryukyu. There's so much that we're going to explore in just a matter of episodes. Just a matter of weeks. And we're going to be entering the final saga. And it's going to be insane. It's going to be amazing. And I have no doubt in my mind that in all the ways that Oda is going to close this series out, he's going to do it right. And he's going to do it justice. And I am very excited to see what that ends up meaning. So, we're going to get into this episode and see how, I guess, maybe Momo is going to stop the fight with Ryukyu somehow. I guess we'll have to see. We'll see if Shanks does anything. We'll see if anything further goes on with the rest of the crew at the celebration, the festival. But for now, we will see as we prepare to head into the end game. So, let's get this started. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow links to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Yeah, Luffy definitely knew. It's like, even if he wasn't like 100% sure, it's like with the hockey, he even said a familiar face came to mind. It's like, he knew. But he also, I feel like Luffy has matured enough to know that he's not quite ready to give the hat back yet. That it's not quite the right time. Like, Luffy of the past, like, especially like pre-time skip, let's say Marineford time, because Shanks did come to Marineford after Luffy had already fallen unconscious and all. Luffy back then would have definitely wanted to meet up with Shanks again. I 100% believe that. But Luffy has matured actually pretty greatly. Like, if you look back to pre-time skip and then post-time skip Luffy, like, yeah, he's still very goofy. He's still a ridiculous, silly character. But there are moments where you really realize how far he has come. How far he has changed and just grown through his experiences. Especially through things like training with Rayleigh. That's obviously going to have affected him quite a lot. So we have now we have this moment, and it's like it feels pretty clear that he knew that was Shanks, but he also understands that it's not the time yet. That they will reunite, but it's not the time. Also, the fact that just all of them could feel the entire fight happening and knew that it was going on, but trusted it to Momo and them. I like that as well. I also like the reasoning Momo was keeping Yamato specifically out of the fight, as well as the Straw Hats. He didn't want to have to rely on them any more than they already have. He wanted to prove that those of them who are going to be staying in Wano, that those who are going to be protecting Wano going forward are able to do so. And that all of those who had already suffered so much during this war get to rest. Yamato had been imprisoned for so long, he deserves to rest. He deserves to just enjoy his life right now. Luffy and them, like, they fought so hard for Wano, they don't need to get involved in this fight too. They just don't. They deserve the rest. And Momo understood that. He understood. It's like, no, the Akazaya 9, me as the Shogun, we are the defenders of Wano. This is our job. We need to be able to protect this country for the future. And you saw how the Akazaya 9 responded. You saw their smiles towards him. That is a true fucking leader. Wano is in amazing hands if that's the kind of mindset that Momo's going to be able to have. He's truly ready to take this on. And yeah, of course he'll have the Akazaya 9 there as his advisors, especially Kinemon. But he is surprisingly ready. And I think he's going to lead Wano excellently. With the help of his advisors, of course. We also get to see a little bit more of the festival, just everyone kind of hanging around, eating treats. Nami trying to play a shooting game and getting shown up by Usopp, but didn't even mind because everyone's just like praising Usopp because it's like, yeah, he's just so great at it, and he is. It's literally one of his specialties, so. Of course, Usopp is surprisingly good at a lot of shit. Like, the dude is a literal artist. He's an inventor. He's got so much going for him. Like, Usopp's not just the marksman. He actually does do a lot. He's the one who fucking drew the Straw Hats Jolly Roger. The very symbol that this crew is known by is Usopp's design. You have to remember that. But yeah, it's like, so I like seeing that no one's like giving him flack for that. They're just like celebrating and praising him. It's like, that's our Usopp, and it's like, hell yeah. Nami wasn't even like that angry or upset when she missed. It's like, because she knows she's not a sharpshooter. She knows that's not her specialty. I mean, she likes to have fun with it every now and again. Like again, she's been given a gun before in this series, but she knows it's not her specialty, so she's not going to be that angry about it. She knows that's what Usopp is good at. She knows that Usopp brings that to the crew. She brings her own specialties, her navigation skills, her leadership skills, because Luffy definitely is not a good leader. I mean, he's a good captain, but he's not a good leader. You know what I mean? Nami is definitely more of a leader. Let's be honest, she's the mom of the crew, without question. Nami is definitely the mom of the crew. She keeps everybody in line. But yeah, Nami has her own specialties. As does Zoro, as does Jinbei. Everybody in the crew brings something different. And I love that they can acknowledge and support that and not get angry for being shown up or something. Um, because I feel like a lot of anime would just have that be done. Like, oh, the character, you get shown up, the character's gonna get angry, character's gonna start yelling or whatnot, even if it's resolved really quickly. But no, in here it's just like just celebration, just fun, because it's not that serious. It's not that big a deal. They're shooting some targets with corks. It's not that serious. Shanks showing off with his Conquerors hockey, his Color the Supreme King, is pretty fucking hype. Like we've seen like the tiniest glimpse of his Color the Supreme King in the past, um, such as when he intimidated the Lord of the Coast with it when Luffy was a kid and all, and that's back when Shanks lost his arm and everything. But now we're seeing like a more perfected version of it, because back then he was not as perfected at it as he is now. Shanks is obviously much, much, much stronger than he ever was at that time. You absolutely know that his Color of the Supreme King is leagues stronger than it was then. Hell, honestly, I would genuinely say Luffy's Color of the Supreme King currently is stronger than Shanks's was at that point in the timeline. I genuinely believe Shanks's Color of the Supreme King was not as strong as Luffy's is currently back when he intimidated the Lord of the Coast. But I mean, I don't know for sure. There's not really any evidence because that's really the only moment we see. We also saw like a glimpse of Uta in here from the film Red movie. Let me see if I can find that again real quick. It was when Shanks was using his Color of the Supreme King on Ryukugyu here. It was when he mentioned Ryukugyu being scared of the new era. So yeah, it shows a couple glimpses here. First is like when Luffy had stabbed himself in the cheek. It shows Yasop in the background looking worried. Shanks comforting Luffy who's crying and holding his bleeding cheek and everything. It showed Odin. Hold on, let me just try to go back to that real quick. It flashes by really quick. Odin and Momo. Momo has a bump on his head. Hiyori being held by her mother, Toki. There's one other between that, I think. Hold on. It goes by super quick. I might have to like put my playback into slow mode to try and catch it. Okay, it's in slow mode. Let me see if I can try to catch all of this. I think it's just Uta. Yeah, it's just a couple shots of Uta there. It's just her shadow, but it's clearly young Uta singing. And then it goes to Shanks saying, "Does the new era scare you so much?" So it shows like a couple seconds of young Uta singing. Now we know that the events of Film Red are not canon, but that certain aspects of the movie, certain things within the movie are. And that's been the case with pretty much all of the main movies, such as Strong World, because Shiki the Golden Lion is a canon character. And he did canonically escape from Impel Down. It's just the specific events of the Strong World movie are not canon. But the character and like the backstory and everything is. And the same to some degree is true about Film Red. The events of Film Red and the episode specials that went along with it, those are not canon. But the character of Uta is, and there's some other things in the movie that are supposedly canon too. I don't know if it's actually known what they are. It's just Oda has said that there are certain things in the film that are canon. Um, so I'm interested to find out about that. To know exactly. There's a little hint in the movie about Shanks's past. It's very brief. I'll leave it at that for those who haven't seen Film Red. I have a reaction to it on the channel though, so if you haven't seen it, check it out. You can check it out on streaming and everything, and I have my reaction as well. But yeah, um, there's a tiny moment in the movie that kind of gives you a hint at something about Shanks's backstory, and I'm wondering if that's one of the canon things. Um, but we're gonna go into that later on in the series, obviously. So, not gonna speculate too much on it for now. But Shanks is able to get Ryukugyu to stand down and leave Wano by using his color of the Supreme King. So, I was wondering if he would get involved, and he kind of did. He just didn't do any actual fighting. It looked like he was ready to if he had to. Like, he was pulling his sword. And was basically ready to go out there and fight if he absolutely had to. But he didn't need to. His color of the Supreme King was strong enough to intimidate Ryukugyu into stepping down. Which is good. Very good. Um, and then there was the stuff with Robin this episode. We get some lore about Wano. Apparently, the Wano as we know it was not the original Wano. Originally, Wano was down below. It was at the base of the mountain. But at some point, these walls were constructed around the entire country. Because of this, rainwater ended up filling up the country surrounding the walls. And so they had to move to the top of the mountain and create a new Wano up there. While the below Wano ended up getting flooded with the rainwater. Which is really fascinating. And we find out that if the walls are removed, which will effectively open the borders for Wano, that's how you do it. But if it is done, it also frees Pluton, the legendary weapon that is laying dormant and is being held back by the walls somehow. We don't know the exact specifications of that, but yeah, the walls are somehow holding Pluton back. And if the walls are removed, if Wano is opened up, Pluton will be unleashed. Or at least the possibility of Pluton being unleashed is available. Now, we know Odin wanted to open up Wano at his death. And prior to that, he, with Roger's crew, found out the truth of everything. Everything. Which means that Odin 100% knows that Pluton is down there. And I was an idiot during the reaction and was like questioning if he even knew about that. No, he knew. He knew what it was capable of, and he still believed that Wano should be opened. Which means he knew something that made the idea of needing to bring out a super weapon like that. He knew that that was a good thing, or at least necessary. He knew that something would happen if that did indeed become the case. Because again, he knew the truth of everything that Robin is trying to find out and everything. And that we know eventually will be the case. which means he knew everything about the Void Sentry. He knew everything about the Will of D, about those super weapons, about everything. So it raises so many questions. This lore is really fascinating, though, and I'm really interested to see what we get with this kind of stuff going into the final saga. How things start to connect even further than ever. And now we have 3 of the road poneglyphs. There's only one more, and I don't remember if it was said where the last one is. Because we have this one. We have the one that Big Mom had. The other one was in Zoe, right? I believe the other one was in the tree in Zoe. So we have Zoe, we have Whole Cake, we have Wano. The only place I could think of that would make sense to me would be Elbaf. Like, that would make just a lot of sense for me in terms of where the next road poneglyph, the final road poneglyph would be. But I don't know if it's been said yet. If it has, I could believe that's what it said. Do not spoil me if it hasn't been said. Obviously, no spoilers for anything. While I do know a couple things going forward, I don't know everything, and I don't know context for everything. So, as always, just no spoilers, please. And no spoilers anyways for people who might peruse the comments who don't know even as much as I do. We shouldn't be spoiling anyone if we can help it. But yeah, I'm very, very invested to see how the final saga goes even more now. Just because of all the stuff brought up in this episode. But with Ryukugyu now gone, there's 3 more episodes. 1083, 84, and 85 left in the post-Wano. And then on 1086, we go into the next arc. So, if we've already gotten the end of the fight with Ryukugyu, we're probably going to get a little bit more with, like, you know, leaving Wano and everything. But I assume part of these last 3 episodes is also going to be checking in with other stuff around the world. Excuse me. Because we do tend to do that every now and again, especially currently with where the series is at. So I assume we'll be doing some of that as well. Maybe checking in with Blackbeard and Buggy. That could be a big thing since we've now checked in with Shanks. I don't know. I don't know. I'm excited to see anyways. Again, no spoilers for me or anyone else who might be watching this for the first time. But for the time being, tell me what you thought of this episode in the comments below. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.